good day to see you.
Okay,
Thank you.
now we
Nice to
go.
see you.
Now we're legal.
Okay.
Before we start, Justin, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to say, as this grows, and we get more of us in here and more of us together, we are going to run across views and presentations that we may not agree with. This is a safe space. It's a community space. Art is speech, and we will not regulate speech. Each artist is responsible for their own speech and thus the consequences of said speech. But it is really about what inspires our work, and if that in any way conflicts with something you believe in, there's time to talk about it later. But that's all I wanted to put out there as we move forward.
Thank you,
Okay,
Justin.
thank you.
Thanks.
Let's switch to the first presenter, Baida. We are here. Ready?
Thank you, Zvi. Yes, I am.
Let me know when to switch to the next slide.
Um, well, this year was a very, very busy year for me because I had two solo shows. One I was invited to participate in March and through Babson College. So I worked very hard to put pieces between, I think, when they connected with me in December until March. So all the pieces were practically new except for one that started the whole theme, which is the theme of the umbrella, as I'm going to show you. The other one, I already booked up the JMAC in Worcester, and I was already working on a theme that started in my mind maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But every time I started to work on it, I find myself extremely distressed, and I would do a little bit of work and stop, do a little bit of work and stop and go back and distract myself. But once I had a deadline, I really needed to start executing my boats, and this is how the second project, Hold Me Tender, came to life and fruition, and it was on display in October. Okay, next slide. The presentation from Zvi and Justin about the views that presented by artists on this platform are our own. I own everything I say on this platform, and I back it. If anybody has any questions or anything by the end of the presentation of the four of us, I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And I can give you lots of resources where you can go because knowledge is power. So the first, this is actually the flyer they created for me at Babson College, Children of War, and the presentation was about all children all over the world that are going through war and famine and horrendous situations. I am an advocate of human rights in general, and of course, children have a very, very special place in my heart. So when I created the theme of the umbrella for this exhibit, it was about how an umbrella can protect you in the case of rain, in case of maybe a little bit of wind. But then when it's made from wire and it's full of holes, and it doesn't really protect you properly from water, and it doesn't really protect you from the elements of nature, you become, which in a way I'm representing all the human rights that we have in place, UN regulations, Save the Children. You can think of any all those charities and all the human rights and children, rules that we have to protect kids are failing us because you can see what's happening, whether it's in Gaza or you can see in Ukraine, where the children were kidnapped and went to Russia to be raised by who knows who. And you see what's happening in Khartoum, in Sudan, in Yemen. It's a very dire situation to children, I think, recently. So it was very bad. So that was really the aim of this show about, in general, what was happening. Next slide. So here you can see like different pieces that I created. This is the first, one of the many I created is the theme of the umbrella made with copper wire. And between the two umbrellas, you will see the cranes. And the cranes usually in Asian culture is a symbol of peace and longevity. But then I called it suspended peace because we don't really have peace. We pretend that we have peace, but unfortunately it's suspended. It's not, it's really contained, and nobody really has peace. We pretend here in the West that we are living in peace, but when you look at the images of what's happening abroad, your heart breaks. I think every time I drink some water or I eat, or like in my pottery class, somebody left the faucet running. Like, how can you waste water? They're putting water in little spoons to give the children in Gaza because they don't have water. It's very hard for me to see waste when I see what's happening to children somewhere else. So that gets on my nerves practically. Next slide. This is the other slide, that one actually the best sculpture in the show. It's about how Palestinian olive trees have been, even today, if you go to the news today, you see that some of the Palestinian trees were put on fire by the settlers. I made this tree that looks like it's pulled out of roots. It's suspended in the air. That silly concept of the umbrella that's supposed to protect it is not protecting it. So whether you think of the umbrella as the concept of God, or some kind of powers that will protect children, or it's failing us, definitely. It's not really fulfilling what it should be doing. And then you have a quote by a researcher who put in details about what's happening, or what happened to the Palestinian trees, and how they're taking away their livelihood by pulling out their trees and practically giving the land to the settlers. Next slide. This is more of a happy and a peaceful piece. It's about rain, but that rain that everybody needs, especially in the Middle East, where we don't really have enough water, and everybody is really struggling to find water. And then all of a sudden, you have these beautiful droplets. You can see it in the beads coming down from the sky, from this beautiful cloud full of color. And then it's landing in that, again, an umbrella that's woven with wire and with mesh. So it's not really, again, it's not real rain, and it's not very satisfying, but it's very colorful. And you can see a child is really happy to wear the macrame as if it's her hair. Next slide. This one is about displacement. So it's an umbrella, but it's upside down. And you can see how I wrapped it with paper, a very heavy quality of paper, Asian paper. I did the cuts and the stitches, I did the windows. But you can see that with all the rain, the wire inside is rusting. So I didn't use copper for this one. I used steel, so it rusts, and it really stains the paper. You see the patches, see the difficulty, the the paper on the floor, cellophane, reflecting light, as if it's actually in a flood, in a water situation. Next one. And these three umbrellas, again, I fill them, is their wire. You can see them without any filling, but then I fill them with roving, and I cover them with cellophane. And it's again reflecting that they're holding water, even though they're not really. So this is when it rains, it floods, and you see children who cannot find clean water to drink, but you can see their feet sinking in dirty water that they cannot really drink. So it just shows you the contrast and irony of the situation. Next one. And this one being parched. Again, you have the rain, but then you can't really catch the water, and you have the floods underneath, but then the children are extremely thirsty. And I remember they had an interview with a family from Gaza that moved to Egypt, and the child was asking his father, can I drink more than one little, like the size of a teaspoon of water? Is it okay? And the father is crying, like, just, you can drink as much as you want now. It's okay. We're not in Gaza. We're in Egypt, and you can drink as much as you want. Being parched for children, it's very difficult to see children being deprived from food and drink. Next. This one is about No Child's Land. I made this umbrella with wire, and I made the barbed wire as well. Like each one of them, I had to cut and twist till it looks like it's barbed wire, and it's about the limitations, where you can go or you cannot go, or you can eat or you cannot eat. You can drink or you cannot drink. You can have healthcare or you cannot have healthcare. It's about all the limitations that a barbed wire, what comes to your mind when you see barbed wire and an umbrella, how can they fit together? Next. And this slide is about a very famous cartoonist called Naji Al-Ali. I can drop his name in the chat. Naji Al-Ali passed away in the 80s. He was assassinated in England, but his cartoons were amazing. So this is like one of his books that I already have. It's called A Child in Palestine. The cartoons that he made, they were all executed like from the time he was kicked out of his land in Palestine, and he was living in Kuwait, between Kuwait and England. So that character of the boy, you can see him like this boy is almost in every cartoon that he made, and it represents him as a child being displaced, looking at what's happening in the world. And I linked him. I linked this old image of Handala, the little boy, with something that happened in 2023 when a professor in one of the universities in Gaza, before he got killed, he wrote his own will, and he said, "If I must die, buy some white cloth and make a kite and give it to a child in Gaza because this might give him some pleasure and joy." So I wrote the poem in Arabic on one side, in English on the other side, and you have details. And Hamdallah is holding that tie. It's that struggle that started at some point, and it's still ongoing, and we don't know if it will ever stop. So it's just a mix of the two imagery in one piece. Next. I moved to the second. The minute I finished with the first project, I start working on my boats for the second one, which is at the pop-up or the JMAC in Worcester. It's called Hold Me Tender, and tender is, I'm sure you all know that. It's just saying it again, just in case if somebody missed the gist. A tender usually is a little boat that's attached to a larger boat. So in case of capsizing or something like that, people can jump into the tender. But at the same time, the word tender means to be held tenderly. So I like that word a lot. And the whole theme was about how nature can be very kind to people, especially refugees, when they get stranded. When nature can be harsh, at the same time, these branches of the trees of birch can actually embrace them and hold them gently in its arms when we, as human beings, are letting them down and letting them drown in the ocean. Next.
Past 10 minutes, please prepare to wrap in two.
So you can see here the flyer and me working on my boat. And next. And this is just about the idea of how it started, the idea of actually working on this project. When one of my teachers said, "Why do you always do, not only me, all of us, like, why do you do like separate pieces here and there? Why don't you think of like really, really explore one idea until you dry it?" So I thought, yeah, let's do this one. Let's talk about refugees. Next. So I'm here. I'm showing you like the piece that finished and the detail and the sketch that came with it. So this one is going to be in open sky. So you will see it personally in December or January. Next. This is another one, another boat. I made the stand for it. I'm very grateful to Lynn Simmons and David Edelman. They both helped me actually in this project because it was very demanding and under pressure, but I managed to pull all these pieces together. Next. Tethered reminded me actually when we executed this, Lynn was helping me in carving some of them. I didn't think, I couldn't figure out of a title, but then when we heard about the flotilla going to Gaza to help the people under siege, I thought I'm going to call it the flotilla. In the beginning, I called it Tethered. Next. This is about a reflection on the journey, like when you reflect on your own journey in the world, how all the scars, you can see that in the mirror, in the shattered mirror. But then the shattered mirror is what makes you complete, because when you look in the mirror, you see the rest of the boat and it completes the boat. Next.
Past 10 minutes, top 12 minutes, please wrap up.
Okay, so this is another one about scars. You can see the scars and it's stitched. And the next one. And this one is called Embrace, but it's all built with branches. Next. And this one is very, very gloomy because it's about a coffin. It's the size of a human being with a coffin and the wrap of muslin with all calligraphy about refugees. Next. And this one is about the missing, the child that was found on the Turkish shore. I can't remember which year, 2016 perhaps. Next. And this one, I had to use hands of friends around me where we made the hands holding. It's almost like a tomb that being held on shoulders or hands. But again, it could be like a boat or it could be the other way around. It could be a coffin. Next.
Okay.
That's it. Thank
You
you.
made it. Thank you.
Definitely.
That was a marathon.
That was a marathon.
Okay, thank you.
My
Next,
pleasure.
Tom, are you ready?
I guess I have to turn the audio on. Yeah. So my work is totally the opposite of Beta's. I work with stone, And that's just totally different from wire and fabric and roots and wood and all these beautiful things that you're using. I'm very limited as a stone sculptor. I think that's a problem that often occurs when I do applications for public artwork. Even metal, heavy material and durable, but it's so different in its possibilities compared to stone that I often have a hard time to compete with that. Anyway, so my name is Thomas Berger. I have a stone sculpting business in Kittery, Maine. And as I already said, I work with stone mostly. As a child, I collected fossils, and at one point, I started making fake fossils, and I think that is the root of my work. I couldn't find certain fish species that were extremely rare to find as a fossil, and I just made them myself. And my interest in nature is very profound and very deep all my life long. And also at the same time, my art interests, and those two are always competing a little bit with my time actually, but also nourish each other. As I said, fossils are the background. And in this piece here, you can see that there is a very rough texture in that stone. I like to stick to that. I just find it much more interesting to have that organic texture and to have that connection to the deep history of life that a fossil would have, for example. I try to not destroy, if I have the possibility to find an interesting enough stone, I try not to destroy the character of the stone, especially if it's like one that, like this one here, that has a nice weathered, almost metallic surface and little bubbles in it like volcanic stone, and it just has a lot of character. To me, that's something that I like to preserve if I can. And then work the stone to a minimum so that what I want to create is visible and clearly there, but it doesn't destroy the stone. And that's why working with a rough stone or boulder is so different from working with a block. If you work with a granite block from a quarry, you don't have that character to begin with, and you just, it's like an empty palette. Anyway, this style has been people that came to my shop said, "Oh, you're doing wabi-sabi." And I said, "Oh, what is wabi-sabi?" And I learned that it is a Japanese aesthetics that has similar goals, that there's a degree of imperfection and age and history that they try to preserve or expose in their artwork and in many things. And that's kind of a similar idea to what I like to do. Next picture, please. So, because I love nature and it's my big interest, I like to this is my theme basically, all kinds of creatures. I also do human pieces, but they look more like African art when I work on people, and I like that style too. It goes with it, and actually, but what I really want to say is there's a personality in pretty much every animal, and I try to to expose that maybe I should be a Buddhist or a Jainist who doesn't like to step on an earthworm because they don't want to kill any creatures. But there is that's what I want to express to some degree. I used to take photos of insects for many years, and I realized at one point that even flies have a personality. It sounds funny, but there are actually different flies of the same species who have different behaviors, and some of them even have a humor. I've seen it with my own eyes. They were mocking a spider, and that's a little bit what I come from, this personality and this expression that is unique to every individual. Okay, next one. So here is again are two pieces that are carved from rock boulders, and one of my messages kind of that I have is that I want to show people that nature is dying around us and we are creating this destruction. So this on the left is a rotten fish. It's my fourth or fifth now, and they're getting better. They're getting more rotten, and they're supposed to be a little bit scary because that's what it is. It's a scary thing that's happening, and there's a lot of death in nature. I just read about another bumblebee species going extinct in Maine. That was still seen like 2009 the last time, and they thought they could preserve the habitat for it, but they failed. It hasn't been ever seen or registered again, and that's just one species of so many that disappear all the time. So there's a big die-off, and this shell is saying the same thing. Next, please. But I also know that you can't always only dwell in the negative. So I want to, the other side of my work is to show the beauty of nature. This is a piece that's in Newburyport, and that also has a Japanese influence. There's an art form that's called suiseki, and they use like a stone that would have a white vein in it or something like that and looked interesting, and they see a waterfall in it. The stone will be displayed in like a bonsai, almost in a little tray out of carved wood and so on. And that's kind of a little bit what I have had in mind here. I found a rock that has a texture that with a little bit of a relief on the top, similar to a mountain. I tried to carve the trees out without them looking new, so I bush hammered over everything after I was done. Only down where the water is, I gave it a polish to contrast it. And then I put all these animals in there. They're all carved out of the same block. And then the fish are gold leafed. And it's just like a vision of Eden when before humans came in and destroyed everything. Next one. Uh, when I see your work, Beta, I always think it always reminds me of my problems actually that I have with stone. It's just so limited, you can't do anything. Even to carve this little house on the left here, these little houses takes forever, and it's brutal work, and there's stone dust and silicium going into your lungs if you're not careful, dust, very poisonous dust, with other words. And it's just brutal and very limited. That's the biggest problem. And that's why I'm trying to find other materials. I've been playing around a lot. David, also in my workshop, we have in David's house, we have been trying different materials because we both like to explore other possibilities. So that on the left is uh, that's called searching for home. It's a little a few houses with blindly ending stairways. They go nowhere. On the right side, I tried to, since years, I wanted to make a turtle with houses on it. That also reflects to me nature as a home for us. So I created this thing that is styrofoam in the core. There's what you see, everything you see there is fiber cement. And the top, when I created it, I had a very complicated technique to actually get that fiber cement on there. And then I had to hollow it out because I formed these out of clay first. And then I had to scrape it all out. And then I was able to put the lights in. It's just playing. And I realize also because I do a lot of public work that public work and work for customers starts at some point to influence your brain and how you think, and it takes a lot away because if you're just creating to sell things, after a while you just dull out. And I try to avoid that and to fight that by doing totally different things that where I just want to play, and that's why I said keep playing here. All right, next one, please. That's a totally different approach. Here I was working with styrofoam, and I wanted to create things that could be hung up in the Seacoast Science Center, perhaps, maybe another income source, but so far nothing has sold. On the left, that is a harbor porpoise, and on the right, I attempted for a life-size halibut, and I made little teeth and everything out of various materials and implanted them. The eyes have real gold in them under a glaze and so on. They look pretty good. It's more fun than anything else. Okay, next one.
10 minutes past. Please try to wrap in 2.
Pardon?
10 minutes past. Please try to wrap up in 2.
Okay, I will try. Okay, that's the difference between granite and bronze. When I work with it, I love the bronze work. It's mild work compared to the granite, and I can just go into the detail and it's just easier to make. But I can't sell them very well, so that's one problem. Next one, please. Talking about selling, I market most of my work in my little shop that I have. My own sales space, and also a big garden where I have stone sculptures displayed. These are the smaller works here. Next one. Most of my work is my income is from public work. I live from my sculpting, so I'm lucky in that respect, but it's not easy, and I have to get public work to make a living. This one here is in Rockport. It's a big granite whale. Next one, please. There's a fish from Lewiston. That was my biggest stone ever. I bought a block of this granite that was 17,000 pounds. And it was like a wall when I was standing in front of it and started to carve. It was a pretty tough piece to make. All right, next one. I think I can wrap it up in the time. Sally, another sample. Okay, that's in Newcastle. Next one, please. I'm working on these two now. This is the first one that will go to Park in Cambridge, and I have to make another one. But this is different for me. I'm not really used to make furry animals, but I had sheep as a child, so somehow it came easy. Next one. This is one of my favorite pieces, Metamorphosis. The challenge was to create a piece in honor of a woman of significance. The developer who ordered this said, "Do whatever you want because I can't do it. I want you to do something you're comfortable with." Anyway, this piece is yeah, as you can see, it's in memory of Maria Sibylla Merian, who was a 1600 landscape, what I'm talking landscape, scientific illustrator. Next one. It's getting a little tight. I don't want to get over my time. This is my very favorite
12
piece.
minutes, Tom.
Okay. In honor of Rachel Carson, I called it Stars and Stripers. It has these sea stars on it and striped bass. And the book that I carved here is the book that I referred to in this sculpture. She was a very profound writer about sea life. She wrote three major books about the ocean. And then later on, she wrote the book Silent Spring, which was very controversial at her time, and started the movement of the environmental movement basically with that. Okay, that piece goes up into the third story with fish hanging, swirling around into the foyer there. And anyway, that's it.
Thank you. You made
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
And
you.
the next presenter is Eugene. Eugene, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Okay, good evening.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you so much for having me. And excuse me, please, maybe my sound can be a little echoed. Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
Awesome, great. So my name is Eugene. I originally come from Ukraine. It's 2 years since we moved to United States because of the war, me, my wife, and our 2 kids. And here in United States, I'm kind of reinventing myself. So for me, sculpture was for many years like a meditation where I could hide from something that was going around me. And at some point, I started to move more into art direction than just making some pleasant stuff for me. So this kind of series of emotional and I'd say experimentation with rough emotions that we have inside, and I tried to perform them in sculpture by the means of the plasticine. The first one, the grief, is called. It is a representation of an old woman who cries a lot, and initially it was planned to make it as a fontaine, so her eyes would be filled with water, meaning with tears, and overflow, because we live in a world that is somehow full of grief, and many old women are in grief of the children they lose all the time in conflicts, in diseases, in sicknesses. So this is how I see it. Next, please. At some point, I became so my main occupation was interior designer, and at some point, I was invited to design some showcase windows for a chain of the children outlet stores, luxury clothing stores in Ukraine, in 5 cities in Ukraine. So I proposed this Victorian style paperwork sculptures of different furniture pieces to represent Victorian style, so to say, but they should look like they were made by children. And this was something cool, and I had several helpers, several assistants to help me with it. This was interesting, and paper since that time became something that I personally like to work with and use from time to time. Next, please. So these are how to say it, not just sculptures, but sculptures that might be used in daily life. Hand pushers, table bases, this stairway made of metal. I forgot the name of it, but usually those steps were popular in the late 19th century and then the beginning of 20th century. So this staircase is something that wasn't done in my mother city, Odessa, in Ukraine for around 100 years. So I was lucky enough to participate in this project to make this staircase. Next, please. These are a series of busts. I like to work with some busts and just to explore what it can be. These are made with plasticine mostly, and I'm eager to make some of them in bronze sometime further, because now it's my first steps as a professional sculptor here in the United States, as an artist sculptor, so to say. So I've made some sculptures as by the means of integrated them in my interior design projects, or as I worked for some other designers and architects, I integrated my sculptures in so as we've seen in door pushers and other sorry for my English.
No.
I'm a little nervous.
No,
We
you're
can move.
doing great, Eugene. You're okay.
Thank you. We
Oh,
can move
Eugene,
further.
if I can interrupt just a minute, how about what's the
Sure.
scale? What's the scale of these pieces?
Guys, please keep questions to the end.
Okay, but the scale.
They are roughly about 6 to 8 inches in height. Sorry for not having the sizes here. We can move forward. This is my Kickstarter here in the United States. I was lucky enough to participate in Burning Man festival last year. And that was my long-time dream to go there. And a friend of mine wanted to take his dog to the festival, but the dog died unexpectedly. So he wanted to make a tribute for his dog. And he asked me whether I can propose something cool to make it happen. And I proposed this sculpture of a dog angel, so to say. And it had a huge impact within the festival because lots of people apparently lose their dogs, and many of them wrote after to us. So this is my first big step as a professional sculptor here in the United States. This sculpture let me go there without paying any money at all. So I didn't pay neither for my ticket, nor for my airplane tickets, nor for the participation there. And this was something that made me more sure and more trustful of myself. And here I am moving forward. Hopefully this year, next year, I will bring another sculpture there. Next, please. These are animal sculptures. I like to work with animals, but not as animals per se, but it's like a hybrid of animals and humans. You can see some human details. For example, the feet of those animals, the faces, they are somehow representing humans. And the spirit animal is a representation of several sacred animals for various cultures of the world. So the giraffe goes for African culture, the horse for European and American. The deer is as well for Northern European and Americans, because I like to explore the origins of arts and of cultures itself, because I believe that they all are sacred in a way that shamanistic and altered states were something that was a starting point for our art, our culture, and maybe even our minds. So I like to explore this path by the means of sculptures. Next, please. Next, please.
Yeah, just a second. Oops. There we go.
This is a series of centaurs, also different. And this is something I want to explore more and more, because I believe that this is also something that is crucial for our culture and the way we can morph animals and humans. And not only humans, as you can see, the Cyber Tower sculpture is a therianthrope of something from the future. I have a poem, by the way, for this sculpture, but I guess you can either see it in my portfolio, this poem, or I will read it next time. to save time for today. And actually, I don't remember it to say it from my heart. Next, please.
10 minutes past. Please try to wrap up in 2.
Sure. I love to work with masks, and I tend to explore them more and more. And the one in the center is called ego dissolution mask. It's something that happens when we are dissolving in the environment. Next, please. Another series of masks, and this is a representation of how people hide beneath the money. Next, please. This is my political point of view. As you can see, the first bus is a representation of fake masculinity. The other one is freedom of speech. Is something. So I think that freedom of speech nowadays is something that you say what you think they gonna like. It's nothing that not you just think, but something that you hopefully be liked to speak for. Ku Klux Klan speaks for itself. Next, please. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's called Watch Your Step. It is a representation of how people tend to step over and over in the same puddle of blood with the wheel of ideology that is pure and white. And it's not about Nazism and fascism. Any ideology tends to be the one and only pure and right, whether it's wokeism or communism or Christianism. Any ism is something that tends to become something awful and killing. Next, please. This is a continuation of this series. It's a festival. The word comes from feast and festival. So it's a struggle within ourselves and within the society. It's also a mess, a house. Next, please.
12 minutes, please wrap up.
This is called rock, paper, scissors, but it's not only a game, it's also representation of the radical right, radical left, and the peace and victory of peace. Next, please. This one is called All Right. It's a messy. So I like to play with the limbs and the way they integrate in one to another. Next, please. This is a continuation of this series also.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And the final presentation today is from Keith. Keith, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Take it away.
Okay, I'm not naturally an artist or a sculptor. I came from engineering and came at sculpture kind of sideways. Next picture. The reason I got into sculpture is because I bought a quarry. I bought an abandoned quarry. So this is a piece of property in southern New Hampshire that had been quarried for granite. So they cut a big hole in the earth, took a lot of the rock out, threw most of the rock away, and then used some of the rock for buildings and cobblestones and columns and things like that. And when you buy a quarry and you live on a quarry, you become interested in quarries. And so I started going out in the woods hunting for quarries, and I found about 35 of them. But one time I found something very different. Go to the next slide. I found art in the woods. I stumbled on this completely by accident, and it just blew me away. It was such a magical feeling of going through the woods, looking for one thing and finding something totally different. Now, these are sculptures at Andre's Institute of Art, which isn't an art school. It's a sculpture park on an old ski area in southern New Hampshire. And I knew Andre's Institute of Art was there, and I thought it was an art school, didn't know anything else about it. And when I stumbled on this art, it made me curious. So I found out some information and wound up volunteering as a host family for the artists that came in for the symposiums that they had once a year. And I would take my artists up to the studio and drop them off so they could work for the day. And I'd hang around a little bit and watch them working. Most of them at the time were working on stone. And it just looked fascinating to me. So because I had a lot of stone laying around in my backyard, I bought some tools and started playing around. Next slide, please. So my initial works were really just scratching into the cliffs of the quarry, and also just picking up odd rocks that were laying around. All of these rocks were just rejected from the quarry operation. So they were pieces that broke off or split wrong, or they couldn't find any use for. So I'd just pick up these rocks and scratch away at them, making a few things. And really, I'm just kind of experimenting with the tools. I'm using power tools, an angle grinder with diamond blades and diamond grinding cups. And I started making a head. So the one on the right over there is the Norman. It was the first head that I did, and it's very, very crude. I'm really just playing around trying to figure out what I'm doing. Next slide. But I had a lot of fun creating the head. So I would, every couple months pick up a rock in the backyard and just start hacking away at it and trying different methods of representing the eyes and the nose and really just having a lot of fun. And I found that the work that I did when I was carving was very therapeutic for me. I had a very stressful, high pressure job, had been going through a divorce and dealing with all of that. And so every time I could carve some time out to carve, all of those pressures would go away. And I just loved doing it. It was just so much fun. It was just me and the tools and the stone. And it really didn't matter what I came up with. What the work would be, what the work would be. Next slide, please. So this is just a sequence of pictures of creating a piece. So go out in the woods and find a rock, drag the rock into my little tiny studio, start scratching some designs into it, and then work the designs deeper and deeper. Cut the bottom flat so the thing would stand up on its own, and then do a little bit more refining on it. And then after I was done with it, I would look at it and I would think, well, what does this remind me of? And this particular one reminded me of a Venetian nobleman, so it became the Venetian. Next slide. So everything I had done for the first 3 or 4 years that I was working on this, and again, this is, after work on a Tuesday or a couple of hours on a weekend. So just pecking away at things. I decided to try something a little larger. So there was a giant boulder down in front of the house, and I sketched out a lizard shape on it and then just started cutting away the rock outside the body of the lizard. And kept doing that over and over again because the angle grinders I were using were just the 4.5 inch, and they only cut about 3/4 of an inch into the stone. So I'd have to make 4 or 5 passes to get 3 inches of depth to it. And then once everything outside the body was cut, then I started using a grinding cup to shape the body. And then when that was done, started polishing it. And the last picture over in the corner is the sculpture after about 15 years. The forest patina came back on the rock everywhere except where I had polished the body. So it still kind of stands out. Next slide. I started doing some larger works. The one on the left is called Come and Get It because it's sitting over near where we do our cookouts. And usually when the burgers are ready, I yell to everybody, come and get it. The one in the middle is called Katok Greets the Dawn. It's down at the end of our driveway facing east, so it greets the dawn every day and it's happy to see a new day. And the one over on the left is called the Great Stone Heron. It's perched on the edge of the quarry, where in fact a great blue heron has often come and stood and fished for bass in the quarry. Next slide. I tried all kinds of different shapes. Some things were tree-like or plant-like. In the woods around the house, I had created some walking trails, and I saw this boulder sticking up out of the ground that looked like the body of a stegosaur. So I took oval sink cutouts from granite countertops that goes in bathrooms. So it's a vanity sink cutout, oval shape, and I carved those into the shape of stegosaur plates, and then stuck them in the spine of the rock. Added a couple of spikes for the tail and a head on the other end to make a stegosaur. Over on the left is a trilobite, and the name of that sculpture is Wrong Time, Wrong Place, because it's a mid-Cambrian sedimentary fossil carved in a late Devonian igneous rock. And I have a lot of fun naming the sculptures. I put a lot of dad jokes into them, and that's half the fun. Next slide. I started getting into some abstract forms. The one on the left is called zigzag. The one in the middle is obelisk, and the one on the right is not too tightly wrapped. So it was kind of fun just doing geometric shapes and again playing around with the tools to see what I could do with them. Next slide. I would go back to heads every once in a while because I love doing them, and quite often I would take a rock with whatever shape it was and try not to change the shape of the rock too much and make the head come out of the rock, as it were. So I'm not carving away an awful lot of the stone, and you can see there in the three of these. Next one. This is one of the larger geometric shapes that I did. I cut some deep channels at opposing angles on opposite sides of this column of rock to create what I called three diamonds. And I really liked the way it looked from different angles and in different light. So with the sunlight on one side of it coming through, the different facets kind of made them stand out. And then at night with the solar light on it, making the stone look like it's glowing. I thought that was really cool. Next slide. This is another piece that I like the idea of how the light played on it. So in full sunlight, and as the sun is setting, it looks like it's holding it out in a starry night, or with a solar light backlighting it. Looks kind of cool. Next slide. So doing stone carving, Thomas alluded to, it's very hard work. You have to get suited up for it. So quite often, a lot of the work that I do is in the winter. So not only do I have to put all the protection on, but also a lot of clothing basically to stay warm while I'm working, because I'm working outside. Quite often working outside with 4 fans blowing on me, kind of making a wind tunnel. I also, up until 2 years ago, didn't have any equipment to move or erect large pieces of stone. So I would use a chain fall and a giant tripod. And being an engineer, it was a lot of fun actually to figure out the engineering of how am I going to erect this 1,200-pound stone, basically all by myself without a tractor. Last slide. Sometimes I'm on thin ice. Here I am carving petroglyph into the side wall of the quarry. Other times I'm trying to cut with water as much as I can, so it makes the diamond blades last longer. And for some of the bigger geometric sculptures that I do, I have to use the giant saw, which is a gas powered 14-inch cutoff saw that weighs about 25 pounds, and it's a monster, but it cuts through a lot of stone pretty quickly. So it's good to use when I can use it. And that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me open the discussion for Q&A. Stop sharing.
To all the presenters, well done.
Okay. Any question? Anybody has any question for any of the presenters?
I have a question for Tom.
Okay.
Tom, you work with these really large pieces. Do you start with the clay model or a miniature and then you bring your ideas into a larger scale?
Often, but not always. But I do it more and more because it depends what I do. Like for the sheep, I made probably 4 models just to study the shape again and again.
In
Because
stone? You made it in stone?
well, first I made them in clay.
Okay.
Then I made two stone models, just one little marble model as an exercise, and then a little bit larger limestone model, very easy to carve compared to granite.
Yeah.
And then when I felt really safe about it, and I made 2 of the models, I made exactly in the same pose as and one was actually just a head
With the model.
model. I just need to study it. On a fish, a big fish, you can't go wrong because the shape is so simple, and
Yeah.
it's more about playing and texture. And if it's a little different from the anatomy of a certain species, who cares?
Yeah.
But on the sheep, I needed to be exact, and it needed to look nice and like a sheep and friendly and all that. And so that I didn't want to risk anything, and I had to exercise it quite a
Yeah.
bit.
It
Yeah.
does look like a sheep and it sounds like a sheep, so it has to be a sheep. It's beautiful. Love
Yeah.
it.
Thank
I
you.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I have a
Hi,
question for
Karen here. Can I make a comment for Thomas?
Yeah.
Am I on? Am I on? Thomas, honestly, I love the way you've evolved your work. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I love where you're going with, even the stuff you haven't shown tonight with your, the shell and the oyster thingy, the things that you're doing. There was
Thank
one
you,
thing I
Karen.
wanted to mention, your connection with Rachel Carson, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And something nobody knows probably what I'm actually I'm a bit of a philatelist, a stamp collector, and I have first editions of special things, and I have one from Rachel Carson. Not from her, but it's a first edition. It's a very special envelope and stamp, and it's in honor of her. I'm going to send it to you because you brought this up, because I have this special repository of these first editions, and I sent one to Derek. Are you on the? I think Derek's on the thing here for woodworkers, and I wait for the special moment for those who will have a very special first edition envelope of first edition stamp. I love what you're doing with your work. I've seen what you're doing through the years, and I love what you're doing with the fish and where you're going. And I really enjoyed tonight because moments like, look, I'm going to step up and do this, Svi. I will do it. But this has been very nice because it's great to hear others share their stories. And I just am too busy, life too complicated, but it's great to hear everybody. I also wanted to comment on, well, Eugene, I don't know you at all.
Eugene is a new sculptor who just joined us.
We did, yes. I
Yeah.
think we voted him.
Mhm.
Sorry, who promoted Odin? Was it you?
Yes.
And so I was curious about that because of your connection with the Norse gods and all that. Are you Scandinavian or? I know
So
you're Ukrainian, but you have a connection with the Scandinavian gods and all all that. I was intrigued with that, with death and Odin is dark. And so I was just intrigued. That was a moment.
So
And and yes, if you want to comment, and then I've one comment for Keith.
the Odin is the name of the dog that passed away. It's
Oh.
not.
Yeah. Oh, nothing with
Oh.
the Odin. Thank you for because
Sure.
Odin, if you know, the God world,
Oh,
Odin's
sure,
pretty
sure.
dark, you know. And Keith,
Yes.
Keith, loved seeing your work, loved being the visit, and you know, the whole connection with your work and your life and what you're doing, and it's pretty profound. And having been there, seeing the context, understanding, you know, where you're going, can't wait to see where you go with everything you're doing. And you know,
Well,
all I
thank you.
can say is thank you. I'm here. I've said enough. There are other people here, and you're all invited to our party on the 30th. I will send out something on the email. And just thanks so much, C, and for organizing this. So that's my
Okay,
bit.
Karen, I'm
Just
gonna
want.
book you for SculpSlam for June 2026.
Yeah, that
All
would
right.
You have
probably,
6 months to
yeah. My
prepare.
life is complicated. I
No,
think
you
that's
do a slide, you do one slide a month.
you've no idea.
We're gonna help you.
I,
Don't worry about that. Just tell us
yeah,
when, and
no,
we'll
no,
help you.
listen, I'm so sorry. My life is a little bit complicated right now.
No,
I
we're
don't
just
know if any
joking.
of
It's
you know
okay.
that, do
Life is
you?
life.
And
Yeah.
life, I love that. Zvi, life is life. Thank you.
Keith,
Okay, I'm
Eugene,
done.
Eugene, I have a
Keith,
question for you.
go
Yeah.
ahead,
You guys have
David.
your dog god that went to Burning Man.
Yeah.
How big was it, and what is it made out of?
It's made of stainless steel, and it was 12 feet high.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you assemble it there, or did you assemble it at your studio or somewhere in
So I
Houston?
made a model of paper, and I created a template and a map of details for guys in San Francisco to assemble it, because I was here in New England, and the plan was for me to come there to help them, but that was not the case. So I had to help them online. So it was kind of working from two different parts of United States. That was another challenge, and I'm glad that we've managed to do it the way it worked out.
Great, you pulled it off. I love your work because it's got a lot of really interesting political statements, human statements, Beta 2, of course.
Thank you
Glad
so
we
much.
have two
Thank you.
sculptors that are doing this kind of thing. And Keith and Tom, I know well, of course, and your work is all amazing. And
Stunning. Yes.
I'm very
Beta,
lucky.
your
Keith,
work is
Can I
incredibly
can
moving.
I just say one thing because I have to go? I'm sorry, I kind of focused yeah, on the one, but Beta, love the work, love the umbrella. I wrote some notes too because you know, I've been trying to see your shows and life was interrupted, but the umbrella, oh, that's so strong. Keep going with that. Bring in the shadow. Bring in the shadow, Beta,
Okay.
because umbrellas create shadow. But listen, we will meet, and I loved this evening. I have to go. I just want to say this was a great sculpt salmon. You know, I will. Okay, you've been pinning me in for June. Okay. Hey, I'll
thank
see all
you.
of you soon.
Thank
Miss you
you.
all.
Thank
Come
you,
on,
Karen.
see us.
Thank
But
you.
Bye, Keith.
yeah, I've
Bye-bye.
got to
Excuse me.
go.
I have a
Excuse
question
me,
to you,
please.
Keith. Observation
Excuse me, please.
more than anything else.
Just one question.
You're,
May I go, please? Because really, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can I go? I just,
Yes, if you
I
have to,
just,
yes.
I just,
let's
I
vote.
just, I
Let's
just
vote.
have to.
No, you can go, Eugene. You
I'm
can
so
go.
glad to meet you all, but really, I'll tell you later why.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job.
Bye.
Nice
Keith,
work.
Thanks a lot. I
I was
love your
starting to
work
say
too.
something
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you. Sorry.
You know the saying, you are what you eat.
Oh,
In your case, is you are what you buy. So you bought a quarry. So
I know,
you
right?
made a wonderful thing out of it.
It's a
So
great
my
investment.
question is, what's next? What are you going to purchase next?
Oh God, no, there's so much work here for me to do. I keep on thinking of ideas to add to it, enhance it, and yeah.
You're very creative. Thank you.
Well, I'm
Anyway,
going to
this
go
is
now, but
and for
I'm
me too. I just want to say Nice has gotten a whole
Derek.
lot more
Hello.
interesting than it had been before, and this was a great sample of it tonight. So thanks to all of you.
Thank
Hey,
You know,
you.
I
we're
have
gonna
to
do it.
tell you,
We'll do a
you,
Corey
you,
party next summer.
I
Yes,
have been
yeah.
on the fence. I just never like the whole thing about SculpSlam was like, I know I can do one. I just haven't been ready, and I really could do one. I feel I could really step up. So I will
Yeah,
do one in
Karen, if you put your slides,
2026.
send them to
I
me. We
mean,
can
I've
discuss
I've
them
been training
before.
art for 30,
Yeah,
40 years.
yeah.
But yeah. So I'll be in there next year and I will do it. It's just
Looking forward to.
We're looking forward to it.
but you
Yeah.
know what? I know some of you know what's going on, some of you don't. But my husband has a very serious illness. But we are going to have a fabulous party, and whoever wants to come, you got to come because we've done this for like 30 years. So whoever can come, December 30th, I'm going to send you the invite.
Okay, thank you.
Keith,
Please do.
Beta,
Thank
Thanks
Derek,
you.
everybody for showing up and
Keith,
participating. It's
Julian,
great. And looking
and
forward to
Zvi.
see
You're
all
too
of you.
far, but thank you. You're cutting me off. I feel like I'm in the Golden Globes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye,
See
Karen.
everybody back
Bye-bye.
on March
Bye-bye.
31st, and you have a good night.
Yeah, we'll see you
Well,
on the 31st.
is
Good
it already
night.
over?
Yes.
Thank
Who's
you.
that?
Bye,
I
guys.
Bye,
haven't said
guys.
Bye.
anything.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, everybody.
That's
Bye
right.
night, everyone.
Thank you, Zvi.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Zvi.
Thank you.